Shalawam. I'm going to start by giving all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Bahakodash. Forgive me, Hakodash, the Holy Spirit, to do this lesson on today. Lord willing to feed you lamb and sheep of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone who taught us this 100% truth according to the spirits of be Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word through the four corners of the earth in true sincerity. And peace and blessing to you hopeful believers out there, which are also part of the elect. I say Shalawam. And once again, I want to say, call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash. Forgive me, Rachakwadash, the Holy Spirit, to do the lesson on today. Low land and feed you, lamb and sheep of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. So we have video to the parent spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And I might title it, famine, psycho behavior. Not sure exactly what I'm gonna title it, but Lord will have a title. But as you see, I'm watching this video, and Salakia, you got my kids in the background, but I'm watching this video, and since recently you had there were so-called talks about a peace talk coming to fruition, but essentially what happened was Iran ended up closing back up the Strait of Hormuz, which is, I think that's about 20% of the oil's supply of the world. And when that, the world has already the supply chain has already taken a big hit from the first time they closed it up, so they just closing it back up. But I wanted to get this video, about the video right here is called Cost of Living Crisis Worser. Let me get the full title. It says Cost of Living Crisis is worse than you think in 2026, because with the supply chain being disrupted very bad and these particular things happen, which we know all this is prophecy, right? People are beginning to feel the effects of the supply chain. They're beginning to feel it, and essentially it's a plague from Yahweh Bashma Rashad, whether Esau's doing his planned demolition, bottom line, it's the effects of Yahweh Bashma Rashad having these particular things transpire upon the earth to essentially bring down this rulership, bring down this system. You see, and that's what we see people, that's what people are feeling. The scriptures describe them as the birth pains. As a matter of fact, let me get that right quick. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Right here. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse. Let me see. So I'm going to start at verse 37. It says, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. You see, so a woman is barren with a man-child specifically, which we know this is a representation. The man-child is this is all the representation of the return of Yahushua. You see, but it says, as a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. And that's what's happening. People are starting to feel those birth pains, of the plagues of Yahweh Shai sending upon Babylon, the great America, and really all across the world. But especially here in America, because, as scripture describes Babylon being a place not touched, a virgin, the virgin daughter of Babylon. Why is it called a virgin? Because Babylon hasn't really been touched, right? But it's going on across all the world. The whole world is feeling the supply chain disruption. They feeling the work of the Lord. They feeling the will of the Lord. You see? Read it again. As a woman with a child, in 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains, right? You got those birth pains, the Braxton Hicks, then you get those contractions. And when it comes, as the baby gets closer and closer, right, which this baby is representation of Yahushua, As we get closer and closer to the day of Yahushua coming, those contractions are going to become more frequent, and they're not just going to be more frequent, they're going to get more stronger. And that's what you see happening, That's what you see happening. You see that everything is getting worse and worse. It's getting worse and worse, and it's more frequent, and people are not able to live that mirthful lifestyle that they've been living. So they feeling the effects. You see? Keep going. It says, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when a child come forth, a slack, not a moment. Right? And the next verse actually tells you what it's talking about. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. You see? And that's what's happening. So before I get this video, I want to get this stuff I looked up. I had looked up not this. I looked them in Google just real quick. I was like, food prices in the U.S. today versus 2020. It says U.S. grocery prices have surged roughly 25% to 40% overall since 2020, when some specific staples like beef and eggs up by 50% to over 70%, while the extreme hyperinflation of 2022 has cooled down. Prices remain permanently elevated rather than dropping back to their pre-pandemic baseline. You see? You keep going. It says key grocery staple comparisons. A standard basket of 11 common grocery staples that cost around $47 in 2020 now cost approximately $73 to $75 today. That's a lot. And you got to think about it. As the cost of groceries and specific things, the cost of living has went up. People are not getting the balance of their job, elevating their what's the word? Their pay. You see, the pay is not being elevated to balance out the aspect of the cost of living. People are, they might get like a raise, $1 to $2 raise, 50-cent raise, whatever the case may be, but the cost of living has elevated exponentially. Like, it's elevated a lot. Come on, it said something that costs you around $47. If you want to add a little extra, that's probably $47 after taxes, right? And it says 73 to 75. And I remember I was talking to my rib, earlier today, and she was telling me about when she went to go grocery shop, and she said she only got a couple items and it cost her around $70. So it's like, man, eggs. It says eggs went up $1.55 per dozen in 2020 to $2.50 to $3.60 today. Ground beef $4.70 per pound in 2020 to $6.30 to $6.90 per pound today. Milk $3.30 per gallon in 2020 to $4.10 to $4.20 today. Bread $1.40 to $1.80 per loaf in 2020 and $2 today. Chicken breast $3 per pound in 2020 to $4.20 per pound today. And these are like this doesn't even give into account the more expensive, forms of it, the more healthier, because that's one thing too. With a lot of the information that's been going out, the Lord has going out, a lot of people been taking on the more healthier lifestyle. And with you taking on the more healthier lifestyle, having a healthier diet costs way more than it costs to have that cheap ass diet that these people having. You see, like regular bread, motherfuckers eating sourdough bread now. You see, sourdough bread costs way more, and the difference between sourdough bread and regular bread, sourdough bread will spoil a lot faster. That's nothing about when you start getting more of the healthier things in life. They start taking on that. Those things tend to spoil faster, so that means you have to buy them more frequently. But people don't got the money to do that, but they want to take on a lifestyle. So you see the mental strain that's coming upon the world. Really, it's already here, but it's just going to continue to increase. So we're going to get this video, right? We're going to get this video, and I'm going to pull some more scriptures, Lord, where you're edified. I'm going to start it from the beginning. Oh, shit. All right, here we go.
As things cost more, Americans are putting less aside. Federal data shows the personal savings rate has fallen to the lowest level in years.
Genuine question for the Norwegians. How does anybody afford to live here when the prices are so astronomically high?
When do you think they'll get it? When do you think they're going to understand that people cannot afford the lives that they want? They can't afford the children. The generations will continue to get smaller. People will continue having fewer children.
And it's another thing you got to realize too. A lot of these people that be on here complaining, you know, a lot of times they be Esau. And you know, if that nigga Esau complaining, imagine a Jake, because Esau, he ain't not under the curses. So Esau has more. He has more in the tank. You know, he has more money in the savings, better jobs, better pay. You know, so you know that nigga Esau. You know, the lower Edomites, obviously, not the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. They the ones bringing this upon the earth. Ultimately, it's the Lord using them too. But like I was saying, you had the lower class Edomites. They're complaining, right? They're complaining, man. Shit getting too high. We can't do this. Imagine Jake. You know, yes, Jake used to it, but you know. It's still Jake, man, it's still gonna affect them. You know. Jake is kind of used to not having particular things, but still. Who wants to be poor? Who wants to work their ass off who wants to live paycheck to paycheck? Who wants to work their butt off to barely get in return? You know, it sucks to go to work, you know. It sucks to go to work all the time, doing double shifts, doing overtime, having all these getting extra jobs, and you have, it's like, it sucks to have these extra jobs and things like that, and you're not able to buy the things you want, you know, let alone you only buying necessity. Man, we live in a world where people live off of comfort, man. That's what we live in. We live in a world where people live off of comfort. That's why, like I said earlier, the virgin daughter of Babylon, this place is used to being comfortable. Very comfortable. People here in Babylon, the Great America, the United States, are used to being comfortable. That's all they know is comfortable. They buy what they need to buy, and they have extra money to buy what they want to buy. I mean, recently, we was at class, me and the brother Goodall was at class with the elders and officers, and Elder Yatazak, he was telling us how his cousin, he had decided to, instead of pay his light bill, when his light bill company gave him a grace period because he was late on the bill, he decided to buy some Jordans. So he wanted to get what he want, and he didn't want to be uncomfortable, which he could always get the Jordans different time, but he wanted them now. He didn't want to wait and deal with the discipline of, okay, let me pay my energy company back. Let me pay them for my late fee. Then when I get the money, I can get the Jordans. No, he decided to go with his comfort. And that's what people are experiencing right now. They're experiencing, as the supply chain is in shock and these particular things are happening, those birth pains, that comfortability, there is being gone. It's being taken away. The mirth, all that shit being taken away. You can't really enjoy stuff. You try to go out and do something. Shit costs super high. Shit expensive. And we talking Edomites feeling this way. You know Jake feeling worse. So I'm going to play a couple more and pull some more scriptures, man.
So with us being about halfway through the year already, I thought we should take a look at how everybody's dealing with the high cost of living. We're going to be going over a wide range of topics along with examples from all over the world, so this video might seem a bit all over the place. We also have comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below, but let's just jump right into it.
So families are struggling to put food on the table. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York is issuing a new warning now about the rise in food insecurity as Americans try to make ends meet. That report saying between the late 2025 and early 2026, there was a sharp rise in households reporting that they had to skip meals, use food banks, and rely on SNAP benefits, or even dip into their savings account if they had any, just to try and cover grocery costs that are nearly 3% higher than a year ago. And 10% of households surveyed said that they didn't have enough food to feed their kids, and their kids had to miss meals. That's more than double the numbers from mid-2020.
And ever since I started making videos on this channel, the grocery prices have only gone up. They never went down. We got a comment from you guys right here. It's worse than it's ever been before. Every single time I go into Walmart, I'm only buying necessities now. I asked you guys in an older video, what are you doing to save money in this high cost of living?
So like, I just want to make a quick point. You got to think about it. You know, you got to do particular things, you know, because don't get it twisted. In order for you to have a certain amount of money, you do got to be disciplined with certain things. But eventually it comes to a point to where you don't got to be as a discipline. Or I ain't going to say as disciplined, but it comes to a point to where it's a light at the end of the tunnel. Most of these people, and I'm going to put that, most of these people, when they're doing these things, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's not, oh, it's going to get better. It's going to go back to normal. We just read, we're going to read it again, man. As a matter of fact, let's get back in that 2 Corinthians 16, right? And let's get this. Let's get straight to the point. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. You see? The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till they consume the foundation of earth. So these plagues, these conditions that are coming upon the planet Earth and that are continuing to get worse and worse, there's no reversal. It's not going to go back. It's not going to get back to how it was before pre-pandemic. It's not. These things are going to get worse. So there's no light in the tunnel. Usually when you're being disciplined and you're doing something, you have an expectation that when I get through it, I'm going to be better. When I get to the end of it, it's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. When it comes to these grocery prices, these conditions that the Lord have coming upon the earth, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there's only light at the end of the tunnel if you're serving Yahweh ahchyam Yahushua. But as for these people and the masses of the world, these Americans, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for them. You see, there's light at the end of the tunnel for us here serving Yahweh Yahushua for the hopeful elect, because at the end of the tunnel is the end of Esau's rulership. All these particular things are happening because the Lord is dismantling, breaking down, and bringing down the Esau's rulership. You see, and if Esau's rulership is being brought down, that's mean that what? We're soon to approach Jacob's rulership. Let's pull that real quick. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So we looking for that, you know. Let me pull this real quick. I'm just pulling a couple scriptures. Continuing, if I could spell. Let me just put this. Let me seek one to come. Let me see. Yeah, this is Hebrews. Yeah, this is Hebrews 13 and 14. For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. You see, so the hopeful elect, we understand that the particular things that the Lord is bringing upon the planet Earth is to bring forth our continuing city. You see, which is what? The kingdom of Yahweh, which is going to be here, and it's going to be here forever and ever, which is sovereignty of Jacob, beginning with the elect of the nation of Israel. That's what we're looking forward to. So we see the particular things happen. We're excited But as for the people, they're just bugging out. You see? They're bugging out. They're feeling the conditions, and they're like, I don't like it. And what makes it worse is there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Windows be darkened. So let me pull this real quick. Windows. And we're going to get back to the video. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those look out of the windows be darkened. You see? What does it mean they look out the windows and it be darkened? It means that there's no future here. That's what people are starting to see, that there's no future. But we know that they got that spirit on them. You know what I'm saying? Lord got that reprobate, you know what I'm saying, wicked spirit on them. That they in the spirit of their father, the devil. Their father Esau, which have expectation that this place gonna continue on some way, form, or fashion. So they got that spirit on them. But the windows are darkened. They see this stuff, man. They see the windows are darkened. That's why they reacting the way they reacting. And the thing about it, it hasn't even really gotten that bad. That's what we always got to take into account. It really hasn't even gotten that bad yet. Like, yeah, shit is going up, but the fact that you could still go to the store and get the groceries, you could still go to the grocery store and get the groceries. You niggas could still go to your vices. You know, you could still get that box, even though it's a lot of Transformers out there and it's a lot of fucking... The Lord disrupting the box. You know, a nigga can't even... niggas out here can't even really get the proper box. They got to go to a Transformer. And that's sodomy. You know, or it's either... If they do go for the box, it's fucking dirty. They might fuck around and catch some shit. And we know niggas ain't trying to use no damn condom. Niggas ain't trying to use that. Nigga nut in a female and go get the plan B. Nigga not trying to use a condom. You know? So you gotta think about that. The Lord disrupting that. So nigga can't even get the box as a vice. You see? Alright. So let's get back to the video though.
Climate, less eating out and going out in general, also buying bulk when I'm able to, another person saying being a one-car family, buying off-brand food items and non-brand clothing, just paying for the basic utilities like rent and mortgage, water and electricity, and the phone. I'm living with multiple roommates and trying to practice minimalism, and I've been working more hours and buying discounted stuff at the store. But even with so many cutting back right now, American savings rate is absolutely tanking.
As things cost more, Americans are putting less aside. Federal data shows the personal savings rate has fallen to the lowest level in years. NPR's Amy Held reports.
Inflation is around a 3-year high. Wages have not kept up, and nearly half of U.S. households are struggling to afford the basics. A year ago, the personal savings rate was 5.8%. By March, it was down to 3.2%. And in April, the latest reading, it had fallen to 2.6%, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis.
It's one of the lowest rates in the past 65 years.
Heather Long is chief economist at Navy Federal Credit Union.
We're seeing people turning more to credit cards and personal loans and buy now, pay later. We can see some early signs of pullback in home improvement and also in healthcare.
Long says she expects things to get tighter into the second half of the year.
Now I know we see a ton of examples of people using credit cards and buy now, pay later to just buy whatever they want. All the designer stuff, the vacations, going out to eat constantly, you name it. But there's an increasing amount of people all over the world that are using it just to survive now. We got another comment saying you'll own nothing and be happy. We've heard that for a while now. Well, they got half of that right.
What are your thoughts on the cost of living?
Quite high, very high.
It's a nightmare. Like it's everything's just really expensive. I've got teenage daughters that probably, unless they marry very, very well, will probably never be able to afford their own home. Very, very unlikely that they won't.
I think it's too expensive right now for people to buy a home.
They've gone up dramatically over the last half a dozen years. Now at the point it looks like my son and other people around about the same age and older aren't going to have the funds to buy a home, and it's going to be the bank of mum and dad that comes to their saving.
I mean, if you're even lucky enough to have parents that'll help you out like that. A lot of younger people have parents that are struggling just as much as they are, when the prices for things like cars and houses are only going up. And we got a comment from you guys that goes well with this. Prices almost never go down. The best you could hope for is that your income goes up faster than prices. And that's a lot easier said than done in today's world. Even though the bogus information that comes out about inflation tries to gaslight us into thinking that wages are going up faster. I don't know about you, it doesn't seem that way to me.
Inflation numbers out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics just this morning. So here it is. In May, inflation rose to 4.2% year over year. And that's.
And you see, all of this is prophecy. You see, all of this is prophecy. The inflation and all these particular things. Let me get it real quick. I'm trying to think of it. Let me see. Let me put this in. I think it's in our Apocrypha. Well, actually, let me go. I think it's Revelation 6. Right here. This is Revelation chapter 6. Right, this is Revelation 6:6. It says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine." You see, but it says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny." That's going into inflation. You see, it's going into inflation. That's what people are experiencing. They're experiencing the inflation, the plagues of Yahweh that he's bringing upon this place. You see? But what does it say? "See thou hurt not the oil and the wine." It's going to what? It's going into the understanding, the wisdom, not the understanding of the scriptures. Which, who are the ones who have the oil and the wine? You know, the ones that have that are the elect. They're the ones that have that, the oil. You see? So the elect, they're not going to be the elect. They're not going to be bothered by the inflation, the plagues, the particular things that are coming upon the earth. They're not going to be bothered by it. But for you people, you're going to feel it, and that's what we see happening. Because you don't see a brother. Ain't no brother out here on a video talking about, man. It's like, let me make sure I got my mic on. You ain't a brother on here video talking about, man, making videos talking about how shit is going up super high and how we struggling. Nah, we feel this shit too. You know, I remember Elder Yatazak said, you know, he says all the time, you know, that this shit crashing, but we in this shit. You know, so we gonna feel it. But you know, what is that? We understand that this is needed. This is a necessity for Esau's kingdom to go down and for the kingdom of Jake to rule. And we also know that the Lord are bringing these plagues and these particular things, but they're not to be brought unto the elect, right? And we know that by way of the scripture, because this is what the Lord says, right? I'm going to get this real quick. This is Isaiah 13:6. "And wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of our times, and the strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is our treasure." The wisdom and knowledge of what? The wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures. The wisdom and knowledge of the word of the Lord. Because the Lord, Yahweh HaShai, he's bound by his word. You know, scriptures speak about where the word of a king has power. Well, guess what? The Lord said that he was going to take care of the elect. He said that these particular things are not to be brought to the elect, but for the wicked, right? Let me get that real quick. This is Sirach 40. I'm gonna get straight to the point. It says death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. So all these particular things that the Lord is bringing upon a place, upon Babylon the Great, these conditions He brings upon Babylon the Great and the whole world, these are being brought for the wicked of the world, which is majority of the world. And then amongst Jake, it's 2/3 of Jake. You know, this is bringing these plagues. That's who it's brought for. It's not same reason how Noah, he was representation of the elect in the times of the flood, the first death. What happened? The Lord preserved Noah and his family and killed the whole world. That's the same concept now. Matthew 24 tells you that. How it will be in the days of Noah, will be the days of the Son of Man. You know, same. It's going to be the same concept. You see, the same concept. A lot to a little. But you see, these people, they feeling it. These motherfuckers, they feeling it, man. So we're gonna watch some more of the video, cause this is a long video, man. It's like 20 minutes long. So Lord's will, I could drop the description of the video in the link below, so you could go watch it for yourself. So we'll watch a little bit more, and we'll get some more scriptures to close it out, cause this video is long.
And that's the highest level in 3 years. Just for context, Savannah, before the war with Iran began, that number was 2.4. This top line is inflation. This green line, wages. This is not great when you see this line cross here. That means your paycheck is not going as far as your bills. And that's why you see so many people complaining about affordability.
So if they're actually telling us these types of numbers now and putting this on the news, how bad do you legitimately think it is? Most people say to just double whatever they're actually telling you, so 4.2 turns into 8.4. And like I said, the graph that they showed for months and months before the most recent numbers said that wages are outpacing inflation. Everybody should be fine. And that just doesn't seem to be the case.
Americans are now taking more hardship withdrawals from their 401k retirement accounts than at any time in history. This is so backwards, bro, and it further indicates the times that we're in right now. You know, for a lot of people, their 401k is their most prized possession. You know, that's something they pride themselves in, of never touching that money so they can have when they reach retirement age, whatever that is. And the bad part about this is a lot of people will say, well, they should have planned better, they should have did this, they should have did that. Man, a lot of people did, bro. But in my adulthood, I've only been adult for maybe 8 years now, but in my time, it's never been as worse as it, or as bad as it is right now. Groceries are up, housing is up, insurance is up, you name it, it's up, and a lot of the wages aren't. And I'm all for taking a loan if you have to take a loan, but if you're taking a hardship withdrawal, that means one thing: you're most likely out of options.
Going over to the comment section, emptied mine twice. I'm 39. I hate it here. We're just trying to survive. This adds into another one of the topics that we've gone over on this channel, the retirement crisis. It only seems to be getting more difficult as time goes on. Many people are going to be working until they're in the grave.
I don't know about y'all, but personally my favorite time of the month is the approximately 48 seconds where I open my bank account and there are enough funds in there for me to feel like I can breathe. And like I said, only 48 seconds, because then I have to use those funds to pay the bills that require money, and there's that. But the 48 seconds is really nice.
We got a photo up on screen. What's the cost of something that shocked you when you started spending your own adult money? Someone says a trash can. What do you mean? They're $70. Rugs. Why is a 5x7 $400? Cheese, olive oil, seasonings. Why are spices so expensive? I paid $20 for a deodorant yesterday. $20. A couch, any furniture really? The creator responds, even a side table. Fruit and toothbrushes. Also, why is good lotion so expensive? Paper towels, underwear, prescription glasses, and healthcare in general. But now we could go over to the housing segment of this video because it's only getting crazier.
Median prices of homes have hit a new record here in the Boston area, $1,030,000. That is according to April's report from the Greater Boston Association of Realtors. This is the second time that the price of a median single-family home in the Boston area has passed the $1 million mark. Realtors say demand is high overall despite low inventory, so prices could climb even more this summer.
All that for terrible roads and terrible weather 8 months out of the year. 1 million to live in a boring city. That's why Massachusetts ranks top 5 for both people moving out and not moving in. $400,000 homes going for $1 million. And we could just move on to the next clip, which is the result of these high prices.
Young people are leaving Boston in droves. This is according to a new survey of 20 to 30-year-olds. Now, the report comes from the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. Of those surveyed, a quarter of them say they would likely leave the area in the next 5 years.
So you see, right? It's getting bad, man. It's getting bad for them, but it's getting great for us through the power of the Yahweh Bashar. Because this is just what it looks like as the Lord's breaking down Babylon the Great. Same way how he break down ancient Egypt. You know, he broke down ancient Egypt, but we was in a land of Goshen. We was protected and all of our stuff. The Lord's going to do the same thing now. So I want to pull a couple more scriptures. Right? I want to pull this right here because these conditions, man, they're going to drive people crazy. These conditions are going to drive people crazy. So that's why, like, man, Jay, get your job and stuff like that. Just be very cautious, man, because these motherfuckers are on edge. These people on edge, you gotta, when you at the job, like you say, walk to wisdom to those that were out. And that's majority of the people we meet day to day. If it's not a brother, if he ain't out there teaching, you gotta be cautious because a lot of these motherfuckers out here, they at that breaking point, man. And it ain't even got worse. That's how you know that's how you know, like, it's really, because the scriptures tell you, man, like, it's gonna get bad and people gonna develop a certain mindset. I'm gonna get that also. But this is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 19 in the GNT. It says, driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. You see? Driven. The cause. You see? The inflation of food. That's a sign of famine. The suffering, not being able to do what you want, the comfortability that these people are so used to being stripped away from them. And it's happening so fast. This is not something like, okay, 10 years later, this shit is happening so fast. The dude just said he was an adult for 8 years, and it changed a lot within 8 years. You see? Going to how the scriptures say, man, how Lord has shortened the days for the elect's sake. So the Lord has shortened the days, so that span that it would have been longer for these people to get their comfortability taken away is happening very quick to where they can't even register it, really. Their body, their mind, they haven't even adapted. They haven't started to do, no, it's to the point to where it's happening so fast. It's happening gradually, but so fast at the same time that these people can't really recognize it, They can't recognize it, and they can't react to it. It's happening fast, but gradually at the same time for these people, man. Right? But it says, reading in 2 Ezra 15 in the GNT, it says, verse 19, driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. And that's what's happening. People are going to get violent. They're going to get violent. They're going to come for the government. And also, too, that's how, as we go on to all the time, man, we are approaching that second stage of the ministry, the persecution, because Esau going to try to, he ain't going to try. He is going to put us at the forefront of a lot of particular problems going on earth. You see? He's gonna put us at the forefront because that's what Donald Duck Nero did. When Nero was he blamed the burning, he blamed the problem of Rome on the Jews. The JEWs. He blamed it on the Christians. The Christians. You see, he blamed it on them, which the Christians were followers of Yahushua. Right. So I wanted to get this real quick. Right. So it says psychological behavior symptoms, right? So it says psychological behavior symptoms encompass a wide range of psychological, emotional, and physical actions tied to mental health conditions, neurodegenerate, neurodegenerative disorders, or extreme stress. So a lot of people really already got mental illness because they're neuro, your nervous system, whatever. Degenerate. These motherfuckers move degenerate already. But it says cognitive and thought disturbances, but the main point is the mood and elemental shifts. It says extreme mood swings, uncontrollable shifts between high euphorias and low apathy or depression, excessive anxiety, constant overwhelming fears or extreme feelings of guilt, hostility and anger, usually intense irritability, hostility, or aggressive outbursts. And that's what you've been seeing. People already been showing symptoms of psychopath. You see, they've already been showing symptoms of being psycho, Joker-like behavior. People are being more hostile. You see these motherfuckers on the internet screaming on their lunch break, yelling to the top of their lungs. People as a whole. Motherfuckers don't talk to nobody no more. They don't want to have no conversation. I remember when I went to my orthopedic doctor recently, the lady she was in there, she was like, "How you doing today?" And I was like, I was doing bad, cracking a joke, flirting a little bit. But I was cracking a joke, and pretty much what happened was she was like, I'm sorry, but I was playing with her, but she had told me that, a lot of people don't even like for her to even ask them how they're doing. People are just fed up. They're just fed up. You see? They don't even like somebody to ask that. So how are you doing? How's your day going? They're like, don't ask that. See the hostile energy, the anger. These are signs of these are signs of you being psycho. These are, like it says, psycho behavioral symptoms. These are psycho behaviors that these people are experiencing. But this is all a part of prophecy. You see, let's see what the behavior changes said, because I didn't read it. It says social withdrawals, pulling away from friends, family, and activities once enjoyed. That's what's happening, because people are not being able to do those certain activities because the shit costs so much now. Shit costs so much. It's like this. People are in between. They're in the aspect of shit costs too much, but social media tells them to have this luxurious way of living, to have this flashy way of living. Especially for Jake. You see? Because you got to remember, for a dude to take a woman on a date, a Cheesecake Factory is not a flashy place no more. And if you thought Cheesecake Factory cost a lot, I ain't been to Cheesecake Factory in like a minute. But if you thought that shit cost a lot back then, you know that shit costs a lot now. So women, even in their minds, they're like, nah, this and that. Nigga, I see me this. People trying to go on trips, all types of shit. I seen videos of motherfuckers going on trips. They saying who paying for it. That's why women are resorting to selling their bodies. You see. But it says routine disruptions, drastic changes in sleeping habits, eating patterns, and sex drive. Don't let them have kids and they going through this. Motherfucker got kids and going. That's why you see a lot of people killing their kids. Scripture speak about how the mom should be evil towards her womb. These conditions Lord got upon the earth, man. Motherfuckers don't want to have. The lady just said it. The Edomite lady said it at the beginning of the video. She was saying that people are not going to want to have kids as much no more. And things like that. And you got to remember, this nigga Esau, his MO, you got to remember, he got the Georgia guys on his commandments. And he wants to get population back down to 500, I think. I think it's 500. Let me look it up to make sure. I think it's 500. 500. Let me see. I gotta see what the shit say though. I don't care about the. Yeah. No, I think that's 500 million. It says maintain humanity under 500 million. Yeah, because that's what we got. So it's trying to get, they trying to get the population down to 500 million. I think we're at 8 billion. $8.3 billion. 8.3 billion. That's the 8.3 billion. Right? They trying to get it. So they want they want 700 billion they want 7,800,000,000 people gone. So Esau's with the people not populating as much. But we know why that 8 billion here, because Yahweh Shai is going to bring the judgment. 8 billion people here, so Lord kill their ass. That's why. Like what he say, if they kids be multiplied, it's multiplied for the sword. You see, that's talking about Esau. You see, but it's also talking about you wicked nation of Israel, since you niggas want to be so. Y'all kids are multiplying, y'all populating more, have more kids for the sake of the sword, man. But let me get this. Where is it at? Right here, behavioral changes. It says substance abuse, increased use of alcohol, tobacco, or illicit drugs to cope, impulsive action, neglecting personal hygiene, acting recklessly, or engaging in self-harm. And that's what you see happening, man. Most people here, they're showing their psycho behavior symptoms. You see? They showing the psycho behavior symptoms. That's what's happening with these people right now. So let me get this, man. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. This is Yahweh said. When you get up, right? When you read up, it says, right here, I'm going to give verse 9. It says, for nation. Yeah, it says for nation. Man. Okay, let's start at verse 4. We're going to read it kind of quickly. But it says, Matthew 24 and 4 says, Yahweh answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. See, these are the beginnings. It's not even the pinnacle, the peak of these things, right? Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And that's what's going to happen. You see, when these particular things, that's funny. It says in NLT at verse 8, but all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. Ooh, I like that. It says, but all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. Then you read the next verse. It says, then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. You will be hated all over the world because you are my followers. And many will turn away from me and betray and hate each another. So it's going to be a lot of, scriptures speak about. Yahweh Shah said, I come to set a man at variance with one another. You see, so it's going to be a lot of division going on, right? So let me jump down to verse 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You see? So the love of many is going to wax cold. That love. I don't know what the word got for love right here. I want to see. It says affection, goodwill, benevolence, brotherly love, love feast. Goodwill. So everybody's goodwill towards one another is going to be non-existent because of the conditions that the Lord is bringing upon the planet Earth. So we really going to have to exercise the wisdom dealing with these motherfuckers, man. But when you get that word cold, it says psycho. To be cold, psycho. You see? And that's one part I want to get psycho. That's the Greek word for cold. Psycho. So a lot of you people are already having these psycho behavior symptoms, and it's going to continue to increase to where you niggas and you bitches become completely psycho. You see? And that's what's happening. And this is all prophecy, but we know through all this, Yahweh Basham Shai is going to take care of his elect, right? So I'm going to end it off with this right here. I spell it right. I'm ending off here. Through all this, the Lord is going to take care of his elect. It's going to be a lot of this, man. It's going to be psychotic motherfuckers all around us. Motherfuckers going crazy. Nigga Esau, bloodthirsty ass. There's going to be a lot of shit going on, you know, because you got to think about these plagues. These people, they feeling it. They starting to feel it. The supply chain niggas hoping, oh my gosh, we're getting the peace treaty finally. State of Hormuz got closed right back up. All these things, but it says Psalms 33:18 says, behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, which is the elect, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. And there's a whole lot of death coming to the whole world. A lot of death. And it's going to be done by Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So Lord, when it's edifying through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and feed your limits of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. I'm ended up saying, call Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hakwadash. I'm going to give honors to the apostles at this great millstone. And Lord's will, I can put the link to the video in the description below. Until y'all, I'm going to say Shalawam.